Sup guys, USA Smells here from Boomfish TCG.
I'm Liam, I also go by Runescimmy.
What was your score at the end of BCS Toronto?
So I went 5-2, I went 2-0, then 2-2, and then 3-2 to end.
You started out pretty good,
Yeah.
and then a little bit of a tank, but you stuck through it. And did you have a good experience at the tournament?
Yeah, it was pretty good. I thought all the people I met were pretty chill. The judges were really nice as well too. Yeah, I don't really have too much of a negative takeaway from it. I had a lot of fun, yeah. But
Are going to competitive events something that you're usually comfortable with? Do you go to them often?
no, this was my second one. My first one was in Philly, and in Philly I was pretty nervous to be honest. I was extremely nervous to be honest with you. Toronto, I was less nervous, and I guess the second time going around helped. I feel like I practiced probably a bit more in Toronto with the boys, so that helped a lot.
So this result really means a lot to you.
Yeah, I would say so.
And what was preparing like for this format?
Mainly deck building, obviously playing games, and then maybe a third, watching the guys play their deck. I found our locals was pretty for diverse things that we played. We played a little bit of everything. So that also helped a lot because I saw a lot of matchups that I probably would have been screwed up in if I hadn't played against them or seen them before, to be honest.
I find that pretty unique is like a lot of people were saying this is like a tier 0 format. Like puppets are just too oppressive. So that's almost perfect for preparing for an event. You started out 2-0. When you got those 2 losses back to back, I don't know, like how'd that make you feel? You really wanted to stick it out for the score?
First game, it was against puppets and I got cooked. I got double Noa'd. He played really well. I got nothing negative to say about that guy. He kept all his puppets there in the EX zone, so I couldn't really do anything. He never overextended. On the second game, again against puppets, okay, I kind of worked on that one, but I don't want to cope too hard. Puppets is pretty hard to go against my deck, I think, because it just goes wide, and unless I pull a boost kicker early or stall till turn 5 to drop down Demis Decree, it's pretty rough going against that deck.
And when did you decide that this was the deck? Like, was it a week before, day before?
So I only play Haven pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah, that's basically my thing. I guess the other option was Storm Ward.
And I remember you saying beforehand, you just hate whiffing on Wilbert.
Storm Ward is so bricky if you pull wrong, and that can just like fuck up your whole day.
We always got to show off the leader.
All right.
Yeah, absolutely beautiful. No foiling. Respectful. You didn't need it. Perfect. Why don't we start getting into the deck ratios?
Sure. The first 0 cost card is Hair of Illusion. I know a couple decks played maybe 2 of these. I think this one's pretty straightforward. This is an Amulet deck, and the ability to play an Amulet at 0 cost, especially when I need several on the board for an Axial, is very nice, especially if I pull it turn 7. I rarely use the Engage effect. The Banish All, it's very good as well if I can get there. But besides pulling it early, it's not really ideal. It's mostly there just to have an extra amulet on the board, so I can just drop it to heal maybe if I have my Candelabras of Prayer. And Meowscar's Ambush. I found when playtesting a lot with the guys that the most important thing with this deck was to dig for my Axials. The most important thing. And there was some games that I wasn't seeing it, so this is pretty mandatory. Some people might not like the fact that, well, you're gonna bottom deck your spells or your amulets, but I run globes as well, so I can find it. It's not really a big deal. So yeah, this is absolutely necessary. So Dark Offerings, also necessary to run 3. The ability to get amulets off the board and to make sure I don't board lock myself is pretty amazing. Of course, it gives me draw and it gives me health to get out of lethal as needed. I do run boost kickers, which gives me 1 play point at the end of my turn. So to have a boost kicker on board and then a Dark Offering in hand, it's kind of a nice combo, I guess, just because I need the extra space for something else. Sacred Pleas, like I mentioned before with the Meowscar's Ambush, I need draw, it's an amulet, and it's also a 1 cost to put on the board. So again, really easy to open up my board, get a lot of amulets out there for my Axials.
Being able to sack it for free,
yes,
being able to sack it for 2, draw 2, huge.
The Candelabras here of Prayer. I saw a lot of decks running 3. Through our playtesting, we decided that 3 is kind of a lot. Basically because if I pull 3, or if I pull 1 during the, I guess, later end of the game, it just feels like a brick. I want to see it early, obviously, so you might say, why not run 3? But then again, I also have globes to search for it.
You don't want to see too many of them.
Exactly. I don't want to see too many at all. Which is kind of like a last-minute tech-in by my good friend Will, was 3 wills to overtake. This came from playtesting a lot and not being able to find my Axials, like I mentioned. The amazing thing about this card is that I can literally look at 3 cards, and if I don't like any of them, I just drop them to the bottom of my deck.
If you see cards in like the wrong order,
yes, exactly.
You can rearrange them, put them back on the top. So as a control deck, that must be really valuable.
Exactly, because sometimes I would put like a board clear to the top, and then of course it has the 2 play points to actually put that card into my hand. And again, even if I play it, bottom deck all 3, I can draw, so it's almost like moving 4 cards off the top of my deck to get to my Axials.
Huge.
Yeah, so this was like a last minute tech in. I did see a couple decks running it, but in my opinion, it was kind of like the all-star of the deck. 2 Sekhmet, pretty good card. I actually did use it quite often. You know, the benefit of this is that I can just tap it and remove a card. I guess I can just show you here. If I have this amulet on board, I can just tap it, get rid of it, and then just ping you for 4.
So you're able to use like leave trigger of that guy, burn them for 3, and then this thing, obviously, if they have a target on the other side of the field, you burn that.
Yeah, exactly.
And then it has the bonus effect of just pinging them.
Now moving on to, I guess, these 3 here. The Eidolon of Madness, really good card. Played it often. It can just banish anything as long as I have 3 amulets on board. Again, this plays into what I mentioned, how I want a lot of low-cost amulets. Candelabras, Meowscar's Ambush, Sacred Pleas, etc. So I can just get those out on the board and just evo for free.
So once you have, let's say you got like 3 amulets, you're feeling really set up, you play this thing, evos, banishes, and it also turns into an amulet, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's quickly showing the evo. It just on-evolve, select a follower and banish them, which is really good. Get rid of those graveyard effects. And again, like I mentioned before, last word, deal 3 to the enemy leader. If you ever see someone playing this and just evoing it for 2, playing it for 2, evoing it for 2, they're probably in deep shit. I had to do that against in one game, and it didn't feel good at all. 3 globes here. It lets me search for whatever I need to. Now, what do I search for? It's pretty dependent. I think 9 times out of 10, I'd be searching for a Will to Overtake or a Meowscar's Ambush. Sometimes I would search for my banished spell, Psychic Maiden, or sometimes I'd even search for a Hair of Illusion if I just want that free amulet.
It's so flexible because over half of your deck's amulet.
It's really flexible. I wouldn't say there's like a go-to flowchart of what I should always be searching for when I play this. It's really situation based, but overall, fantastic card. One thing that's really good about it lets me shuffle the deck when I need to. So maybe if I bottom decked my Axials somehow, like a mulligan, etc., it just lets me hopefully shuffle them back.
That's pretty rare in Shadowverse. Not every class really gets access to this, but Haven has plenty of this.
Especially if I'm playing against 2 costs, for example, I do not want the Axial in my hand until I need it.
Okay.
So, it's good to get rid of it and shuffle it back in. So 3 Vengeful Radiance. It was really helpful, to be honest. And the ability just to split damage across the board is really good to, get me going. So 3 worked pretty well here.
And the flexibility and control is just huge.
Boost Kickers.
Hey.
One of the MVPs of my deck. Again, teched in by my boy Christian. This really helped me out a lot. Like I mentioned, the board clear is just so saucy, and the fact that I get 1 play point at the end of my turn, again with my Dark Offering combo, is really good. Maybe I could have ran 3. I don't know. I think 2 worked pretty well. I guess I probably would have wanted to see it more into Puppet. Moving on, Ancient Protector. So this is kind of a meme card that my friend Will was always talking about, and I guess it's pretty good against Maishas. I actually never played it once.
So please
Toronto.
tell us what exactly this fringe tech even does.
While this card is on your field, you can't lose the game and opponents can't win. And basically, when my defense becomes 0, it just bumps back up to 1 and heals me.
It just saves you.
Yeah, it just saves my ass, basically. So it's pretty good against Amaisha, but...
Did it ever come up?
No, it never came up because I just felt that 3 play points is just really costly in a deck where I have so many 1-cost cards, right? I can play 3 cards for the price of this guy.
So in the future, would you take it out?
Yeah, if I could redo my deck, I probably would have taken it out. If I didn't mention, it's 41 cards because of this guy, not 40. So yeah, it just made it...
You just make it a solid 40, no changes.
Yeah, exactly. So I probably would have
incredible.
But in the future, who knows? 3 Psychic Maidens is a 3-cost banish for anything with 4 defense or less. I wanted 3 specifically for 2 costs so I could banish out those Rule Knives. I really wanted to make sure that 2 costs couldn't cycle, because if they cycle that card and they make me discard 2 or 3 cards in a turn, it is so lethal, especially if I have my Axials in hand. So I really want to make sure that this was there to make sure they couldn't get their graveyard effects off. Banishing cards just pisses off people, which is kind of funny. So McQueen, really good tech card. 2 is pretty good here. So what it does is when it comes onto the board, I can sack an Amulet, an enemy follower, or their leader for 3. Really good. If I played it with this guy, which I believe I did once or twice, I can basically burn them for 6. They usually don't see it coming.
Which is huge.
Yeah, it's really good.
Like a swing that's really hard for them to even see coming.
Yeah, exactly. They don't expect it at all, actually. And it's only 3 extra damage.
And do you play the carrots with it or just the Evo?
Just play the Evo with it. And so to talk about the Evo, what I would usually do 9 times out of 10 with the Evo, where it's lets me add an Amulet from my cemetery to my hand, is I'd pull the Will to Overtake or the Meowscar's Ambush.
Just to keep digging.
Yeah, again, to keep digging for my Axials. And yeah, it paid off a lot. I think some games I probably played Will to Overtake 3, 4, maybe even 5 times.
So you're literally looking for what, like 15 cards through your deck?
Exactly. So yeah, fantastic card. And of course, it has a ward, which is huge because the ward stops Maishas. Yeah.
And you never really have more than one guy on the field, right? So they can't do the really annoying part with Maisha.
Exactly. I pretty much all the time have 4 amulets on board, and then maybe 1 zone for our followers like this. Themis Decree.
Board wipe.
Just board wipe.
Destroys all followers.
Exactly. I pretty much need it against everything, extending until I get to turn 7 for my Axials. Finally, the quote-unquote boss card of the deck, the new card that makes everything come together. Godsworn Axial here. So I found a lot of people, I guess, they didn't prep for Haven because they're pretty surprised by how this card works. When on Fanfare, for every amulet I have on board, I heal 2. So if I have 4 on board, which I try to set up for, I heal 8 on the
It's
spot.
huge.
Which is huge on the spot. She's costly though, because a lot of the times in Toronto, I think only once, I went second. Every other time I went first, which meant I had to wait till turn 8 to evo her.
Which is pretty tough.
Yeah.
Turn 8 plays are
Exactly.
usually pretty hard to pull off, but like the evo's also crazy, right?
Yeah, exactly. So the evo lets me, on evolve, ping enemy follower for 2 damage again for each amulet. So if I have 4, that's ping someone for 8. And I get to ping the enemy leader for 8, which is a big surprise. So basically, if I have 4 on board, it's like a net 16, right? Plus 8 for me, minus 8 for
Yeah,
them.
16 life swing.
Yeah.
Can you use the secondary effect if they don't control anything?
No, you can. Which is a little tricky. If they know what the card does, they'll try to make sure there's nothing on board because you need to play followers, right? But if there's no followers on board and have no target, this can't go off. I don't think I ever had that problem in Toronto.
Because like
Yeah.
they're staring at you gaining all this life, and you're almost baiting them in
Yeah,
to
pretty
keep
much.
playing stuff. You just don't care. You play this 3 times in a game, you're gaining 8 times 3, 24
Yeah.
life.
So yeah, I play this, I ward her, and to be honest, a lot of the times I actually hope they just kill her because that clears my board for me.
To play another one.
Yeah, and I play another one, and then I just do it again, and then you're really down.
And then the coup de grace, last card.
And the coup de grace is a Tekken, I guess, Heavenly Aegis.
And what matchup did you tech
Thank
this
you.
for?
So I specifically teched this in for Hunters and Lashena. We have good Lashena players here in Ottawa, and I was able to play against them. And this card actually really helped because, of course, they couldn't get rid of it, right? So once it comes on the board, I can just start swinging them to face. So this card won me my Lashena game, and I think this card also won me my Hunters game. The Hunter player I played against, he was very good. He actually managed to get it off the board, but he did have to use a lot of resources, so kudos to him. He did take care of it, but it's specifically for those matchups. In general, I just find Heavenly Aegis is so slow, right?
Yes.
It doesn't have Storm. I basically got to give up my entire turn to play it and to evo it, and I let them do whatever they want. There's no ward anymore because I'm not playing Guardian Sun like in old Control Haven. So basically, they can just swing at me and maybe just win the game.
And just as a general rule of thumb, was this deck more of a going first deck or second? Because you mentioned you never got to go second.
Yeah, honestly, when I played with the boys, I basically just went first, then second, first, then second. And
Just to really get a feel of it.
Yeah, really get a feel of it. So going first, it feels really good though, just to get like my candelabras off and then just get my tempo going if possible. That feels good, but late game, it does not feel good on turn 7, knowing that I need to wait till turn 8 to play Godsworn Exile, then evo her.
So if you won the die roll, what would you pick?
I think most times I'd probably just go second. But like I said, I was very lucky to go 5-2 going first most of the time. And those players I played against were pretty good. They could tell what was going on. They basically made sure that I went first.
Let's say you got the perfect hand, top 4 cards to start the game off of, going second. Like, what would you pick?
That's a really good question. So going first, probably one of these guys would be good. She'd probably be good in hand as well. Same thing with Meowsker's Ambush. And I guess, of course, this drawing on curve would be good. This would also be good early.
So a little
Just like
bit
this
of
was coming.
removal.
Yeah.
You really don't care about the boss monsters. You showed off being in your early hand. You just want cheap cards to play out and hope things go well.
Yeah, at least when this is, if I do pull this, like top deck this, it's not bad because I can obviously just plan ahead to make sure that I'm set up. But into 2 cost, I literally never want to see this until I can play it. Remember when I did play against the 2 cost player, I actually pulled this and I just mulliganed it. I did not want it in hand. Once these get discarded, you just lose the game at that point, to be honest.
That caps off the deck profile. Are there any shoutouts that you want to throw out there?
I guess shout out to everyone in Ottawa, all the boys plus Mackenzie. No, honestly, our locals in Ottawa is really good. Everyone's really cool. Like I said, we play a good variety. Everyone has a really good understanding of the game.
And we had a huge showing.
Yeah, we had a huge showing in Toronto. I definitely don't think I would have gone far if it wasn't for them. So I want to give a shout out to everyone there. I guess a special shout out to everyone. To my friend Christian, to you, Will, and to the other Will, and to Tristan as well. We played a lot of games offline, which really helped a lot. So big shout out to everyone there.
Sweet. Thank you very much. Hope to see you topping sometime soon.